Okay, still got 7 minutes.
Yeah, I'm supposed to post it at 5 minutes off.
Gotcha.
Thank you. You did great.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, I forgot my soda. I guess I'm going to water tonight.
Oh, can you do me a favor? Can you grab me a water? Oh, someone's not. Anybody else want anything?
I'm good. We still got a few more days of this heat wave.
So Thursday it's supposed to cool off, I heard.
Is that right?
I heard a report somewhere along the line that said Thursday it's going to cool off.
I'm over it. Showing houses in this heat has been atrocious.
My father passed away
Try
40 years
keeping-
ago today. Exact same weather up in Boston, because I remember the day like it was yesterday. 90
Try keeping
degrees.
milk
We don't
cold
get
this weather.
90.
You open the door of the truck and you lose all
You were the
cold air
same,
just like that.
wasn't you?
Gone.
You were 26?
Hi Nancy, how are
Yeah.
you?
I was 26 when my
He
dad
was
died.
54. How old was your dad? 53?
53, yeah.
Mary's dad died tomorrow.
Oh, wow. My dad was January 7th. It'll be
You know what I mean?
January 7th, '06, so it'll be 15 years in January.
Wow. Hard to believe. I watched a little documentary on the Apollo and the moon landing last night. Of course, I saw it live 50 years ago,
Right.
which was interesting. But the interesting I never knew was Armstrong, how he got to go, and how he got to be the first guy on the moon, because they all practiced. There'd be like 8 of them would practice on simulators, and one of them malfunctioned. And he hit the ejector, had a parachute out of it. They said, that's the guy that's going first, because he did the right thing. Never knew that little tidbit. What's going on?
Hey, Rob,
We are
what's up?
live and the link is live.
Yeah, right now the link is live, so we're just waiting 4 minutes before we could start.
Right.
Sorry, Rod, you complained about that we only opened up area on basketball. Come on, we got that somewhere. Give us a break.
What was he complaining about?
That you only open, there's 6 scoops, 3 full court, 3 full court, we open up every other one, like a B
Which
shape,
Roger
so
was
like-
this?
Huh?
Which Roger was this?
Oh,
Oh, I was like, Roger Lane is complaining about
Oh.
basketball court.
you can only have half court games. So it's fine. Somebody else thought it was a good idea.
Excuse me. Jesus.
$6:58. We still got a couple minutes. One minute. Like to call the 7 PM work session meeting to order. Roll call, please.
I have to relink it. Take a roll call. Mr. Boonstra?
Here.
Ms. Fisher?
Here.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Here.
Mr. Madigan?
Here.
Mayor Shanley?
Here. Reading of the open work session, please.
Please take notice that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4 through 6 et sec, and in consideration of Executive Order Number 103 issued by Governor Murphy on March 9th, 2020, declaring a state of emergency in the state of New Jersey, the Township Committee of the Township of Wyckoff does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens while ensuring the continued functioning of government, the meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Wyckoff, scheduled for 7 p.m. Tuesday, July 21st, 2020, at Wyckoff Town Hall, 340 Franklin Avenue, Wyckoff, New Jersey, 07481, will be conducted via the Township of Wyckoff's YouTube channel, and members of the public may call 201-891-7000, extension 222, should they wish to provide public comment during the 7 p.m. public comment period. These measures are implemented to allow members of the public to observe the meeting via live streaming and to provide the ability to comment during the period for public comment during the meeting. Due to the COVID-19 public health emergency, members of the public will not have access to Town Hall. General instructions regarding access to the meeting will be posted on the Wyckoff website's homepage at www.wyckoff-nj.com as a news item on Friday, July 17th at 4:30 p.m. To view the live stream Township Committee meeting, please access the YouTube link, which will be posted on the Wyckoff website's homepage at wyckoff-nj.com as a news item immediately prior to the commencement of the meeting at approximately 6:55 p.m. on July 21st, 2020. To be notified of all future live stream Township meetings, please create a YouTube account and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Township of Wyckoff. This regular work session meeting of the Wyckoff Township Committee is now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings. A copy of said annual schedule has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. A copy has been filed with the municipal clerk, as well as the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald and News, all newspapers having a general circulation throughout the Township of Wyckoff. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda thereof was similarly posted, filed, and mailed to said newspapers.
Thank you, Nancy. Have we confirmed the Finance Committee has reviewed and signed the vouchers, and that
Yep.
I signed all necessary documents?
I have.
Okay, thank you. All right, can I get a motion to open for a 10-minute public comment period for 2 minutes per speaker for public comment on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the Township of Wyckoff?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes. Okay, now is the time for public comment. If anybody out there wants to call for public comment, the telephone number is 891-7000, extension 222. Once again, if anybody would like to make public comment, call 201-891-7000, extension 222. Doesn't seem like anybody's calling. Does somebody want to make a motion to close?
Move to close.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes. Okay, Bob, can we review the 8 PM business meeting agenda, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we can, and good evening, members of the governing body. This evening's agenda has two public hearings and further consideration. One is ordinance 1917, which is an ordinance to make a zoning change regarding the parking code. That ordinance has been reviewed by the planning board, and the planning board recommends its adoption. The second ordinance is of additions to tonight's agenda. We have added, at the request of the mayor, a closed session regarding anticipated litigation. We have added a motion to approve tents for the Cornerstone Christian Church at 495 Wyckoff Avenue to conduct worship services. And we have some release of closed session meeting minutes which may be released, except the copy you have has one resolution, 20-C7, that will not be released, as per my review with Mr. Landell today. The only other thing I'd like to point out is that tonight the governing body is accepting the audit report from the municipality's independent auditor. And I will report with a sense of pride for our finance team that it is presented without any auditor's comments for improvement. I'm happy to take any questions on the agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, hearing none. Bob, can we review the policy action items?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I could review them, and I will try to be brief. Item one I'd like to mention is I hope the Township Committee has found the weekly report of non-essential project achievements during this pandemic useful and helpful. Today, the Township participated in a regional testing for COVID-19 at Waldwick. It was Wyckoff, Waldwick, and Saddle River. 861 individuals were tested for COVID-19. I just want to point out that our social media followers continue to increase. Ms. Cole was able to provide us with some statistics, and what's really interesting is we're up to 76 individuals who registered on our YouTube channel, so I think that's very positive. You also saw in the packet, we had a call last week from Orange and Rockland. They're the utility that services approximately half of Wyckoff for electric power. They will be performing a storm hardening improvement. You may remember that section of the community lost power during Superstorm Sandy and Tropical Storms Riley and Quinn. They are starting on a project which will harden the lines. The above-ground lines will be constructed underground and it's intended to improve the electrical power distribution for 2,400 homes. We are working with the police department to make sure that that's done in a safe manner, even though working in busy streets such as Wyckoff Avenue and Brookside Avenue, which experience a lot of traffic, will be challenging. We're working on public information to get that information out as soon as possible. So,
Hey, Bob, the email that they sent regarding Phase 1, Phase 2, on that conference call we were on, I want to thank our engineer, Mark DeGennaro, who brought it to their attention that the county has Wyckoff Avenue on road paving list this year. And they were talking about moving up the Wyckoff Avenue portion of it sooner. But the email we got today still had it on Phase 2 in completion in October and November, which would be after the road paving. So I don't know that they've changed it. They're still going to do Phase 1 on Brookside.
Mr. Mayor, I'll speak with the engineer tomorrow, but I don't think the county is going to be paving Wyckoff Avenue this year. They wish to pave Sycamac Avenue this year.
Okay.
And there's some improvements that, based on their new rules, that the municipality must complete. And I think Wyckoff Avenue is going to be on their 2021 to-do list. But I will verify that.
Yeah, just verify, because the last thing you want is the road paved and then they reopen it to put in the underground utilities.
Although Wyckoff Ave could certainly use it.
Yeah, well, Mark
Last
believed,
year it was gonna be this year, so.
Mark believed it was on the list this year. That's why he brought it up.
Last year it got pushed to this year, so I'm surprised that there's some question.
Yeah, and I don't know if I missed it. I mean, that conference call we were on, Bob, lasted a little longer than I could stay on. It was, I said I had to drop off the 11 o'clock one at 12, and then, because I had another conference call for work, so I had to jump on that. So I don't know if I missed anything from 12 o'clock on and how much further that conference call went with Orange and Rockland.
Well, I was on the whole call, and I can sum up the meeting this way, and I don't mean this any other way, but factually. The Township of Wyckoff is going to intervene in the process so we can make it as manageable as possible. It is going to be a difficult project. You're talking about roads that experience
Right.
over 2,000 cars an hour midday. So it's
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a difficult project from start to finish, because Brookside is pretty busy as well. But the one thing that I didn't know, which most of the township committee probably didn't know, there is already an underground conduit on Brookside, which they're going to access from Edgewood to, all the way down, that apparently they put in like 40 years ago or something, that they were gonna do a project that got canceled. So they're gonna re-access that and put, the underground utility through there, and then build onto that as an underground conduit, all the way down Brookside into Crescent, into Wyckoff Ave, right by the Y.
They
And then
never
it's gonna-
mentioned that when they were in front of us, did they?
No, and Tim, my recollection from the call is that most of that underground conduit is in Allendale.
Yes, it's not here, it's on Brookside, like Edgewood Avenue down somewhere into Allendale. But it's the Edgewood Ave, I believe, in Allendale, not in Wyckoff.
Yeah, the Edgewood Ave in Wyckoff comes out to Crescent, not to.
Right. So
Yeah,
there is an
Brookside.
Edgewood Ave on Brookside, but it's in Allendale.
Yeah, and Melissa, you're right, the governing body had multiple extensive conversations with O&R, and that was not mentioned.
No, it was never
Never.
mentioned that there was already an underground conduit there.
Because we probably would have requested that this get started quicker if we had known that.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's taken years for this project that was on the table 2 or 3 years ago to finally get kicking.
Bob, Mayor, if I may, Bob, a quick question on the Sycamac Ave paving. I understand there was going to be a pre-construction meeting this week. Do you know about that?
No, I do not. I do not, I haven't heard that.
I'll have to follow up on that. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'll
Yep,
begin
go ahead,
with my
continue.
items. I am on the PA, policy action items number 2A, and then number A. I'm not going to discuss because we have the public hearing tonight on ordinance 1916, and 1918 will be introduced. The bamboo ordinance, we are going to hold until the Shade Tree Commission provides some guidance. Item C is a request from a resident at 362 Dartmouth Street to purchase the adjacent non-buildable Township of Wyckoff owned lot, which is at the corner. The township, many years ago, had quite a few of these, and in accordance with the law, it can be auctioned off by bid to adjacent property owners as a non-buildable lot. It has value to the adjacent property owners in that it can enlarge their lot to possibly build a family room without a variance or put in a swimming pool or something like that. It's not a particularly large lot. I think I provided in your packet the tax map, that, and I highlighted it in yellow. So what I'm asking you is, this is an opportunity to take a non-taxable piece of property and make it a taxable piece of property. We need to have the assessor tell us in what context the value is to have a value for a bid.
Okay, so the value that would come as a purchase price paid to Wyckoff would be based on how much it increases the value of the adjacent property? Or am I missing it?
Not necessarily.
All right, how would we determine what the price is that we would receive for
The
selling?
assessor would come up with.
Okay,
The assessor would come
so
up
the
with a price.
assessor would tell us what the reasonable value of that property is.
And that price may be different from the added value if it moves forward, it gets your approvals and it's purchased. But it's not a buildable lot.
Right. Okay.
So if everyone's okay with that, I would start the process with working with the assessor. Once I have the value, I would come back to you, report to you, and look for authority to follow the statute to advertise for bids. And it'd be limited to essentially two or three other property owners whose properties physically touch or are contiguous to that
Right.
property.
I have a question here. When something like this occurs, does someone sit down with the party purchasing to go over the zoning requirements or zoning restrictions on the site? The only reason I ask is the letter writer indicates that if I were to install a fence, he would be required to provide a line of sight and unrestricted visibility. There's more to it than that because it's a corner lot. It's a two front yard situation. So if nothing else, this should be cleared up. But, there are, typically when a move like this is made, it changes the zoning requirements on the lot by enlarging it. In this case, it's a corner lot. It becomes a corner lot with two front yards.
Actually, Rudy, that's a good idea. We can certainly do that with him before we go any further.
Just so the party understands, that's all.
How many other adjacent property owners are there?
None.
None? It's
No,
just-
no, no.
Oh, no, there's one in the back.
There's two
Two or three.
additional.
Couple
Yeah,
others.
one in the back, right.
So the map.
It doesn't have to be, directly behind it if the property touches.
Yeah, if it does a touch, yeah.
I think there's two.
At what point does the entire, let's say this gentleman purchases the adjacent property, at what point does it get reassessed for tax purposes?
20 minutes later.
It would probably be an added assessment that would come in December, am I right? December of the added?
That's when she does it. But it'd be retroactive, I guess, to the date of the.
Yeah, I believe
of the
so.
acquisition.
So the purchaser wouldn't know the tax consequences of purchasing the land?
I mean, I guess if the assessor's gonna determine the value, I guess if they added it, they could come up with a close.
But is that the way it works? Is it you take the assessment of one property and then you add it to the assessment of the land and that's the assessed value?
I can't speak for Pam.
Doesn't work that way.
No, I think she'll see how it increases the value of the entire property.
Well, but if it's two or three bidders, my point is it may increase, if it's two bidders, it's not gonna increase them the same.
Right.
No, it wouldn't. For instance, if
Just
the.
depending on the usability for each individual lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, and the assessor takes the perspective that she cannot tell somebody before an improvement is built or it happens.
Right.
Right.
What the value is, because
Right.
otherwise, everybody who plans to put a home improvement in would be wanting to know that.
Right.
Yes.
And as you know, the only thing a plan shows you is how it won't be built.
Right.
All right, do I have authority to move forward?
Yes.
And I will
Yes.
report back with the value. Next item, number D, is a request from Beth Fisher. She received a letter from a resident inquiring about a community garden. Beth, can I defer that to you?
Sure, yeah, I spoke to Tim about it. Initially, the resident requested Russell Farms, which seemed like a logical choice because there is space, but we are putting in the playground. And I spoke to Bob about it, and there may be some restrictions based on the grant, so we're still looking into that. Tim asked me to look at the gardens of Wyckoff, and there's really not an ideal spot to put in a community garden. And then I thought about the community garden that already exists outside of Eisenhower. But I don't really know how that would work because it's on the school property, and could that turn into a community garden? Because it kind of is
It
this
is.
summer.
I checked it.
Residents have adopted the 10 beds and are planting it, and it looks great. So I guess I just wanted to bring it up and say, has this ever come up before? Does anybody have any comments, input, questions? Does it work?
No,
Would there be a partnership with the school? Do we want to continue looking into this further? So that's,
Well, as I shared with you, the problem with a community garden on a public, in a public park area is it becomes 10 people taking over the entire section of that park.
right.
For their own purposes and excludes the rest of the residents. So that's where I would have a problem with it at certain parks. And that's why I was looking to see if there was anything at the Wyckoff Gardens.
Any other, I just, there's just not,
Because there's not much use of them other than to come see the roses.
exactly, yeah.
May I interject?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I don't mean to be negative, but in order to be helpful, I do not recall the deed restrictions that came along with that gift of land. And the gift of land restrictions.
Right,
Which are a little onerous,
yes.
I'm sorry, for the gardens.
Yes.
The gardens.
Okay.
would have to be reviewed.
Right.
Do we know how large a plot they're looking to cultivate?
It wasn't anything specific. It was just, has this ever come up before? Wouldn't it be great? So many people are outside, they might not have proper light in their, yard to do it. Wouldn't it be nice to have, a place for people to get together, all that. But it wasn't like, and we'd, want 20 beds and, there's a lot of,
You also need a ready supply of water for irrigation.
well, that's
Right.
not, exactly, right,
So that eliminates, unfortunately, Russell does have that.
right.
There's a well
Well,
house
but
there,
We're
but
on,
you
we're
do-
on water restrictions pretty
But,
intensely.
well, restrictions are
every
no,
summer.
you need a ready supply of water,
Yeah.
if you're gonna grow.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
But like with the water restrictions this summer, which were the same as the last
You can't-
summer and the summer
Can't do the
before
booster zone,
that,
because you can't
we
get water in the
can't-
booster zone.
I haven't been able to water anything, basically.
Right.
Right, you could hand water, but there is interest. There is already a space at the middle school, so, but it is also a lot of work, and who's gonna be responsible for it, and all that stuff that goes
Right.
along with
I
it,
would-
so I
I'm
just
having
wanted-
trouble understanding the need, not to be ignorant. Is a desire, then there's a need, would it be neat, be cool? If they think of what to do with the food, I don't know what they do with the food they grow in Eisenhower. Do you know what they do?
They donate it, in years past, they've donated it to a food bank. One of the teachers there would collect it, and donate it to the food bank at his church.
Because in the Rotary, we sponsored a garden as part of a horticultural project. We got them a greenhouse. They were growing fruits and vegetables. And 2 years, it's over 2 years now, they were precluded from donating any of the food to the food pantries or to anything. That was one of the kids' intentions, was to learn things. So I don't know.
Fresh food, they
I don't know
wouldn't
how that
accept
works.
fresh food.
Isn't there a small garden at the Reformed Church too, next to the Hannibal building?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think there is, between the building and the parking lot. I think there's a small garden there.
We have one at Lincoln as well. We have a
Okay.
community garden there.
So do you want me to, I mean, do you want me to look into the restrictions at the Gardens of Wyckoff, or do I just respond that it's not feasible
I'm
at this
concerned,
time?
I'm only concerned about, like, at this point, people gathering and are, like, encouraging people to gather. So I would maybe just put it off until,
I mean, there's no way it could be done for this growing season anyway.
Right,
Right,
yeah, I
the
mean, I
growing
think-
season is over for
Yeah.
planting.
So I
Except for a
guess
few
is there an
vegetables.
interest, is there enough interest in the town to sustain this, or is it really just one or two people who are really enthusiastic about it?
I don't see it as a feasible plan, I really don't.
Right.
I agree with Rudy on the watering restrictions.
I mean, I think the restrictions are only for sprinklers. You can still hand water on other days. I mean, I don't, but
But most of the point I was making is you need a source of water.
You need a
on-site
source of water. Right.
Restrictions notwithstanding.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many of our, well, I guess some of our parks do, but they're used for other things, athletics and all the rest of it.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's paid for by the township, the water.
I'm
Right,
just,
okay.
I'm just not feeling it.
You're not, I'm getting the sense that.
I think maybe next
You're not
spring,
feeling it.
if there's still an interest, would be, next winter, next spring, see what the state of the world is, and if there's still an interest, I think maybe we bring it up then.
All right, so we will put this on hold. Okay, thank you for your input.
Okay, thank you. The next item I had is, I'm not looking for any action, I just simply wanted to let you know that we had a slip and fall lawsuit, which has been sent to our insurance carrier, and that's being vigorously defended. Item F, Mr. Boonstra will bring up. Item G, I'd like to speak with you. I tried to provide a very succinct proposal to modify the administrative hours in calendar year 2021. It was something that I realized in the last two in the last two personnel solicitations we were doing, when it seemed to be a concern, the Tuesday evening hours, with a number of the candidates that we interviewed. So what I tried to do was to provide a proposal which would gain an additional half hour's worth of work a week. And, I think it's pretty straightforward. If you're interested in that, what we would do would be to, we're working now on next year's resident calendar, and we would also add it into the tax bills that are sent when they're sent later in the year.
I think it's a very good idea. So I think it's a good idea because things have changed. We have the drop box for taxes. We haven't had people be coming into the town hall based upon these circumstances. Gives us flexibility, or you managing everybody. And I think it's a good initiative. And personally, I wouldn't even mind if you did it starting in the fall, but I don't know what the repercussions would be of that.
I think if it starts, it should start clean the first of the year. Gives us an opportunity to provide more than adequate notice.
Bob, are there the occasional residents who this will just not work for? Do we know? I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good trade-off. But I don't know. Would it make any sense to open one night a month or two nights a quarter? Just on the off chance that someone absolutely cannot make it in here and has to come in?
Well, our experience has been that, with the building department, that contractors don't come in the evenings. And with the additional methods and the pay by phone that we're gonna
Right.
do with
Okay.
the finance, there really is no reason to have that open.
Okay.
I suspect the only possible item might be somebody for a marriage license.
Marriage license, park and ride, possibly, dog or cat license. But all of those are things that we're handling right now without people coming in, so.
Yeah. And quite frankly, Nancy is working very diligently to have the dog license to be done online
Yes, for next year,
for
for
next
2021.
2021. So we're hoping.
Hey, Nance, can you check audio? I just got a text message.
Yeah,
that
someone
audio
texted me
got,
too that it was-
You can't hear?
Yeah, lost audio on YouTube.
They told me it was back on though.
Well,
It appears to be
Justin.
live right now.
Okay.
Let me make a suggestion. Why don't we use the remainder of this year to vigorously get the word out that as of the first of the year, this change will be here, to see if anyone says, look, this just isn't gonna work for me.
It's a good idea.
I mean, we have 5 months left.
Okay.
To vigorously announce, or, make the announcements that we're gonna change this, new office hours effective 1/1/21, and see if anyone comes forward and says, look, that's just not gonna work for me.
Or maybe talking to the people that come in during those hours between
Yeah.
now and it
Yeah.
ends. Is this gonna be a problem if we shut this down?
And Bob, just for the record, one of the appealing things to me was the 8:30 AM across the board start. So for our residents, it gives them an opportunity prior to the busy time, 9:30, whenever they would have to come in or whatever. So I think that's very positive, and that's what I would tend to accentuate. Improved
Okay.
hours.
I will pursue that in that manner. Next item I have is number H. Just wanted to mention to you that our fire department has been working diligently to improve the emergency communications in a topographically low spot in town. It looks like we're making progress on that.
But I didn't read all of it. Is this fire ground communications or alarm notification? Pager notification? Do we know?
It's fire ground
Yeah, I've
emergencies.
been talking to Joe Vanderplat about
I
it,
thought
and
the-
it's
I thought the
it's
ca- I
fire
thought the new-
department communications.
There's two types. One is a notification of alarms, the other is fire ground.
No, I think
That's
it's
the question I'm
ground
asking.
communications.
I think it's fire ground,
Okay.
Yeah.
but I can verify that.
I
and
thought,
get
no,
back to you.
no, I'm just curious. I thought that if it's fire ground, in fact, both, I thought that was gonna improve with the county dispatch system 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But that's fine that they're doing it, that's fine.
It's good
I don't wanna
initiative.
belabor.
Good initiative.
Okay. Next item is, I would like to speak with you about 2021, the dates for the town hall administrative offices to be closed, which are typically the 12 days we utilize. And secondly, a list of governing body meeting dates. So can we take the 12 dates that town hall is typically closed? So those are in that resolution. I'm looking for a barometer reading so we can plug that into the calendar because we are preparing next year's calendar at this point. And the next item I would like to go over is the township committee dates. I had a suggestion. I had a suggestion, I think it was from Mr. Madigan, that the one meeting a month in July and August be moved to the third Tuesday, which I believe is in there. And then I had a suggestion by Melissa that as it relates to February and April, when school has their winter and spring recess, to have those months on the 2nd and 4th as opposed to the 1st and 3rd, which would allow us to have a full quorum of the governing body, which I thought was an excellent suggestion. So we would make both of those good suggestions. We'd make both of those changes, which are good suggestions.
Okay.
If that meets your approval, we'd like
Well,
to,
can you just do me a favor? Because I don't have mine marked up. But July and August end up being, do you have the official date, July and August would be?
hold on a second.
The 13, July? August 10th, I just want to make sure I record it.
It would be July 20th and August 17th.
July 6th is gone, July 3 is gone. Right, okay, thank you.
Did we look at the Jewish holidays to see if there were any conflicts?
Yes, we
There
always,
aren't.
we always do.
For 2021, there's no conflict?
No
Okay.
conflict. Okay, I have to go through the planning board and zoning boards. I do that myself after they do it. The last thing I have on the PAI agenda is the JIF just promulgated a model ordinance concerning meeting decorum, and they recommend that every municipality adopt it. And it mirrors a New Jersey decision that says that the New Jersey Supreme Court indicated that governing bodies should adopt their decorum rules sufficiently in advance so that the public has reasonable notice and governing body apply these rules in a content-neutral fashion. It was the last item on the PAI. What's interesting is JIF also provided footnotes that explains the reasons for each sections, and I happen to think it's a good idea. It allows you to manage the business of governance so it can operate effectively. I'd like to have your authority to work with Rob Landell to Wyckoff-ize it into an ordinance that could be introduced. The first step would be to Wyckoff-ize it and put it in a draft and send it to you for your review.
I like that word, Wyckoff-ize it.
Well, you know, we usually have more thorough and complete language.
I'm fine with it.
Everybody's okay then? Right, Mr. Mayor, I think that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Bob. The only other thing, I have a question for you on the pending projects. Has anything happened with Maple Lake? You're just getting a little concerned that there's no subdivision application that's been submitted to the planning board. Or is that going to be in the township attorney's
I can do it
update?
now. I spoke, since our last meeting, I spoke with the attorney for Sarn again, and he again confirmed that they're putting the final touches on a subdivision map to his knowledge, and they're gonna get it over to me. So I'll
Okay.
keep following up. I mean, I guess at some point, if we think we're in danger of losing the money, we can make an action to enforce the settlement agreement. That's not all we can do.
Okay. All right,
How
very
about a
good.
call from the mayor?
Do you want me to make a call to him?
Doesn't hurt.
Hold that as an option?
I will gladly do it. Just give me the contact information
Yeah,
for
I'll
him.
do that.
Excellent. Okay, thanks. Moving on to the township committee reports. I'll start on this end with Rudy.
Where do I start? All right, in the interest of time, I will try to be brief here. Let's start with the flagpole memorial at the Larkin House. We've seen the conversation, or the communication from Susan Litt, who is the president of the Partners in Pride. They wish to donate to the township a flagpole actually to replace an old flagpole that was removed years ago because it was a metal flagpole and the bottom rotted and it was taken down by Scott Fisher and his crew. So there had been a flagpole there. They're looking to actually replace that flagpole in the grassy area in the parking lot, along with a small memorial plaque donating or dedicating the flagpole to Tom and Mary Bugle, who were the founders of the Partners in Pride. I was contacted by Susan Lipp because I work with the Partners in Pride, watering some of their flower pots and helping them with, if they need anything from the DPW or anything like that, so I was contacted by her. It would be just a small monument. We would agree and review the monument before it was installed. It would be a small block monument with a brass plaque on it, donating it to, I don't know what the wording would be, but I think it's entirely appropriate that there be some sort of a memorial to Tom and Mary Bugle. They were very active citizens, did a lot for the township, and the Partners in Pride is their lasting legacy. They selected that area because there is electric power to that grass island, and
So you can illuminate it?
it would be illuminated.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
that was the
yeah.
question I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you.
I would recommend doing it now. Tom is Parks and Rec, so I went over this with him. And Tom, I don't know if you want to add to what I have just said now.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, just for the record, that as the Parks and Rec liaison, I think it's a nice tribute to Tom and Mary Bugle. I think it's very appropriate, and I think that it recognizes them not only for their contributions to our town, but to help it to make things beautiful and shining example of what makes Wyckoff so special.
And it'll bring a flagpole back to
Back to the Larkin
House,
House,
which did not have a
right, which is
flagpole
it's a
for,
public building and it does not have a flagpole, yeah. And our senior citizen center as well.
right.
Mr. Boonstra, may I add one thing?
Sure.
I'd like to add that, and I don't mean this in any way to be pedantic, but the governing body adopts every January 1st a resolution that regulates plaques on public property, and we do it to be content neutral.
Correct.
And to be consistent between what goes on between a scoreboard donation and a playground donation and a concession stand at Phyllis Field donation. So I'll be very happy to help you review that and provide that to you for.
Yeah, I think all
discussions.
parties understand that the plaque would go through that process and adhere to our adopted policies. Yeah.
There are no deed restrictions on that, right? I know there are a lot on the Larkin House property. If we could just quickly take a look at that, just to make sure.
Yes, I can. We've previously had a flagpole there.
Just in turn, not the flagpole, the plaque.
Plaque.
I think there's a
We
plaque.
have plaques there.
There's
Oh,
a
okay.
plaque
Yeah, there's a
there
couple
already.
there, yeah.
There's a plaque for someone else there, I forget who it is.
Okay, no, I think it's a great idea. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a plaque there for an Eagle Scout.
Okay.
My son he built a patio as part of his Eagle Community Service Project. We have a plaque for, who is the gentleman? Rudy was involved in the veterans, lived down by Midland Avenue.
Yeah,
And we have a
I walked by
plaque.
the plaque, his name isn't coming to me, yeah, you're right, there's a plaque there.
The Pips donated a tree
Yep,
from him. We have a plaque for the, I believe, the Girl Scout Bee Project
Okay.
and some other ones.
If we've got another Eagle Scout project coming up, that travels could use some work.
The Grape Arbor?
Yeah. I'm just throwing it out there if you're looking for stuff.
all right, moving right along here, the DPW, as anyone who's been around town can see, has begun our substantial paving project for this year. I know today, I just happened to be around, I saw that they milled out the upper part of Ravine, and they paved Newtown between Henry and Wyckoff, and Hillside between Wyckoff and the Midland Park border. So they're out there doing what they do, and it's a significant paving program we have going this year, and I'm glad we're finally underway. And we are only going now because we had the special meeting back in July to approve the contract. So once again, we can see the value of that meeting. So I thank everyone for pitching in on that. Planning Board, as Bob indicated, approved the master plan a re-examination and voted to accept it, and approved the parking ordinance, which we will be dealing with tonight. The Wyckoff Environmental Commission met last night and went through the agenda as normal. There will be a team up to tidy up this year. It will be on 10/3. We will also have on the same date. Now, this will be a COVID-19 compliant team up to tidy up. We will not have the large gathering in this room. We won't have the group photo on the lawn in front of Town Hall. We will have registration for this by telephone, possibly by email. Participants will pick up their equipment all ready to go at a selected site, and they will also register online or by phone for the area they would like to pick up the debris. We will also, on the same day, have an officer. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong on that. We're going to have a Shred Fest on Friday the 18th, which was announced a week ago. It is on a Friday because we will have the county truck here, the county shredding truck, plus one of our own, and we will not be asking for volunteers because it will also be COVID compliant, so we don't have volunteers going in people's private automobiles and handling what may be old paper or paper that had been mishandled and shouldn't be, volunteers should be doing it. So we'll have some of our DPW employees with appropriate PPE taking the shredded paper to the shredder, or the paper to the shredder. We'll also have the drug take back at the same time. We'll have an officer on duty and by the way, the Shred Fest will be at Community Park. Am I correct, Bob?
You are correct.
Or not the DPW garage. We'll have an officer on site there with a receptacle to take back prescription drugs. We talked about clothes and book recycling. Bob, I had a question. I brought some clippings to the recycling yard yesterday, and I noticed that the book bin was overflowing. Does it fill up that quickly, or is someone not picking it up? We ought to look into that.
Yes, I certainly will look into that. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be picked up every Friday. I'll find out.
Well, maybe this was a Monday, so I don't know, maybe they missed it because of vacations or something. We're going to find out. Styrofoam this year is out. We're looking to have a composting event. We'll work with Beth on that. We'll find a date somewhere, I guess, to have a composting event. And the bottle and craft project will be at the library. I guess when they open, it's on hold right now. We approved the 2021 meeting dates. Bob will review them. The grants, there wasn't too much of a change. New business, interestingly enough, Ridgewood Water came up. Commissioner, I think Maychuk brought that up, only in the sense that she viewed the interview of Steve Clark, or by Rich Calby by Steve Clark, the Board of Health president, and commented that it was a worthwhile interview to watch.
It was, I was gonna make a comment.
Yeah. The only question she had, and it was a good one, was when was the interview conducted? So, and it's like only 3 weeks ago. So we ought to somehow communicate that out there so people have
Yeah, it was communicated within a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's only been about 3 weeks. So,
Right.
the general sense was that everyone should watch it. Because it was a good interview.
Mr. Boonstra, based on that comment you made to me, it's been dated.
Great, that's
the
great.
website.
Okay, thanks. And the Recycle Coach app is up to 2,217 subscribers. As of July 20th, that's up about 90 from the previous meeting we had. And that's about it. An issue came up, well, there was talk about a resolution opposing the gas-fired power plant that NJ Transit is looking to construct. In the Meadowlands, one of the junior commissioners is asking that the governing bodies in all the towns in Bergen, Passaic, Hudson, Essex, and one other county adopt this. But unfortunately, only 6 towns have adopted it out of what has to be 140 or 50 towns. And they're looking to have this done by September. I don't know if this is a non-starter or not. I guess we can get copies of this proposed resolution out, Bob, for the August meeting. I asked the young commissioner if she wrote it, and she said it was written by Don't Gas the Meadowlands Coalition. I didn't get a chance to Google it, so it's an activist group. I think that's it. That's all I'll cover now on that. I think I'll leave it at that, Mayor.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Got a couple of, few things. I'll try to push it along, because actually I have a few more things. I just wanted to comment on the audit report, or the summary audit report, and congratulations go out to Bob and Diana and their team for another excellent report. No, as Bob noted earlier, there's no recommendations, and I just think it's another example of financial excellence in how Wyckoff business is run. So kudos to all involved. Second thing I have is I was excited that we completed the Memorial Recreation Complex turf field project. That was completed last Friday, Saturday, and I was happy to be there Sunday morning. Actually, all of us were there Sunday morning for the inaugural games. There was a U12 boys game. I'm sure Tim will give us more information on that. And there was also a men's softball game in the other field. And it's really awesome. And we'd hoped to see the girls softball first game on Monday night, last night, but that actually was canceled. So we're sorry that, and we'll catch up to the young ladies when they get on the field, but I just think it's a terrific project. I know we've talked about it, but it's a testimony to a lot of people working together, and when you have over 1,900 people who's going to benefit from the various sports there. And I just like to give a big shout out to Scott Fisher, who ran the project, GC'd it, coordinated it, worked with Andy Wingfield on all the lines, all the coordination, the walking path that's going around the field, and it's going to be extended down to Franklin Ave. It's just terrific. Next thing I just want to report, while we're still at the recreation complex, the tennis courts are being repaired. That was an initiative that was put together to take advantage of the fields being closed. So they're working on the tennis courts, and probably within the next couple of weeks, those will be completed. And I think we went over before, they saved us a lot of money. And just this week, now that the construction is over the field, we opened the basketball courts. So we opened up alternate baskets so that they're only half-court games to ensure the most distancing of visitors. And also the roller rink was open, as was the practice cage for soccer, all in line with the governor telling us what we can and cannot do. As Rudy mentioned, I too saw the milling and the paving, which began yesterday on the roads in town, I know Melissa and I, she's probably gonna comment on it, worked pretty hard during the budget process to try to accomplish as many roads and throughout the town as possible. And just to remind everybody, the roads are selected based upon the recommendation of our DPW and our police. So I know it's always nice to get a freshly paved road, and we're looking at it in 2-year cycles now, so it's exciting. We were able to take advantage as well of favorable prices in the marketplace. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Melissa?
Do you want to go now or wait until?
No, go now, so, because we still have 6 minutes.
Yeah, sure. The fire department, I attended the company meetings last Monday. The trainings have resumed for all of the firefighters, and the juniors are back on board doing trainings and going on calls, so really excited about that. And also, which was an amazing thing to hear, is there's still going to be a very small 9/11 ceremony. Details to follow, but I was really happy that that's not getting canceled this year. I also attended the first game at the new Memorial Turf Field. It was great to see the kids, and really looking forward to a day when COVID is behind us and we can celebrate with the kids and the parents and the corporations and everybody who made this happen. And I think just the last thing I'm going to touch on is zoning board. Just looking at my notes. One second. So just a brief recap on zoning. They are still conducting their meetings via Zoom. Looking forward to when they can get back into the courtroom, because I know with both planning and zoning there have been some technical issues, and people now have to appear within the Zoom platform. With their, and an issue that came up during zoning is that they're not with their attorney, they're not with their architect. So when decisions are being made to either have a vote or continue something, it was noted by one of the attorneys that he wanted to speak with his client, and that's a lot more difficult to happen, during a Zoom. They had to get off the Zoom, call their client. So hopefully we can kind of move past the Zoom at some point. But there were three properties that were addressed, 234 Franklin, 177 Van Houten, and 200 Godwin. 234 Franklin was approved, Van Houten was approved with some stipulations, and Godwin was carried to the next meeting. All three of them were basically homeowners with substandard lots who were looking to do an addition to their home. So that was that, and I think that's all I have.
All right, thanks. Beth?
You want me to, okay.
Yeah,
I'll
go
talk.
ahead. There's 4 minutes. If you can't finish, just let me know. And
Okay.
We'll recess and reconvene after the business meeting.
All right, just things that have happened. You mentioned the water video by Dr. Clark. Board of Health has not met, but he took the initiative to create that video with input from members of the Board of Health. So I thought that was very positive. Historic Preservation Commission has not met, but Rudy and one of our members moved. So we are going to be looking to replace her. So that is on our radar. I also attended the Environmental Commission. Rudy covered all of that. There were 2 Board of Ed meetings since we met last. The plans have to be announced for their return to school by July 27th. They have to be submitted so that parents have enough time. So we will know more by the end of the month what that looks like. Dr. Carrie Postma, the new superintendent, K-8 started July 1. And I also attended the opening of the turf field. That was very exciting. And attended the first meeting as a member of the safety committee. Bob convened a meeting for a committee for litigation risk. So we held our first meeting last week. That was very well organized, and Bob did a great job running that. I wasn't sure where to mention this, but I did just want to thank Scott and Andy and Bob for all of their work with the Russell Farms projects. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of moving parts, it's a lot of activity happening over there with the playground and the garden and the fence and the paving and the flexi pave, so it looks great, and there's always a lot of people there when I'm there, so I think a lot of people are taking advantage of that. I did just want to, I guess we don't really have time, I wanted to talk about possibly, we seem to be getting a lot of requests from scouts for projects, so I just wanted to throw it out there. Has there ever been, and/or would you consider starting a subcommittee for that, so that there's a kind of a point person for scouts to come to, rather than kind of sending around an email and who has an idea and, oh, this might be good, so.
You mean both Boys and Girl Scouts? right?
Both boys and girls, yes, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. So obviously, we don't have to talk about that now, but just think about it, that it might, so it's a more positive experience, there's continuity from start to finish, there's, kind of projects that they can do that are meaningful.
Bob, do you think that's probably a good idea? You're very in with the Scouts. You're an eagle yourself. So what would you?
Actually, I am not. My son is an Eagle.
Okay.
He's an Eagle. I'm just a supporter.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a supporter.
Very good. Is
You're an
somebody
honor.
supposed to be calling for? This is the priest, I think,
Oh,
calling.
for that, yeah.
All right, it's 8:00. Can I get a motion to recess the work session?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and I didn't get the call. Forgot. Can I get
Mr.
Can we
Boone?
take 2 minutes?
Sure.
Thanks.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes?
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes. Okay, so we'll take 2 minutes. It's 8:00 right now. Somebody's calling. Hello?
No, I didn't.
No.
I didn't even press it. No, they stopped calling.
Was the priest supposed to call?
Yes.
That's, I wound up not picking up in time because we were trying to
Well,
adjourn.
now you have his number, we can dial him back when
Yeah,
you're
I could
ready.
dial him back when we need him.
You could text him if you want.
It's
to
kind of
tell him
funny
that.
how they call immediately 8:00 when
I
it
could
takes
start
time
playing at
to read
8:05.
the you're gonna have to read the entire open,
I'll tell them to call at 8:05 going forward.
yeah. Because we still gotta do flag salute and all that stuff too.
That's Melissa's kids, I guess, on the phone.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought there were kids out there. Here comes a call, let me see. Hello?
So.
It is. Yeah, how you doing? We still have to open the meeting, read the Open Public Meetings Act and the flag salute. Can you stay on hold?
I can't turn it off in the middle.
All right, very good, thanks. All right, you can hear what's going on in the meeting, so I've got you on speaker. We still have to start the meeting, but one of the committee persons had to take a quick break.
No problem.
We're gonna start in a couple seconds.
Is that Fred?
Yeah, it's Fred.
Fred, it's Rudy. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Rudy. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Okay, we all ready? All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Call the regular meeting of the Wyckoff Township Committee to order. Flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now we're ready for you, Father.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Would you join me in prayer? Our Father and our God, I want to take a moment to pray for these men and women who lead our town. I pause to ask you to continue to protect our town in the midst of the pandemic. We pray that you would lead those who are treating the diseases in our healthcare facilities. We pray that you would lead those who are seeking new cures. We pray that you would guide those who are looking for a vaccine. And Father, I pray for those who have to make decisions about the town and protocol. I pray that you'd protect those on the town council, our police officers, our fire, and all those who are serving. We pray that you protect our police as they serve as well. We thank you that we have made it to this side of the curve. We pray for great wisdom. And Father, we know that there are all sorts of other things continuing on in town. It's not normal, but they continue. So give these leaders great wisdom as they lead our town. I thank you for them. I pray your blessing upon them. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, Nancy, can I have a reading of the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Absolutely, Mayor. Please take notice that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4 through 6 et seq., and in consideration of Executive Order Number 103, issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring a state of emergency in the state of New Jersey, the Township Committee of the Township of Wyckoff does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens while ensuring the continued functioning of government, the meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Wyckoff, scheduled for 8 p.m. Tuesday, July 21st, 2020, at Wyckoff Town Hall, 340 Franklin Avenue, Wyckoff, New Jersey, 07481, will be conducted via the Township of Wyckoff's YouTube channel, and members of the public may call 201-891-7000, extension 222, should they wish to provide public comment during the 8 p.m. public comment period. These measures are implemented to allow members of the public to observe the meeting via live streaming and to provide the ability to comment during the period for public comment during the meeting. Due to the COVID-19 public health emergency, members of the public will not have access to Town Hall. General instructions regarding access to the meeting have been posted on the Wyckoff website's homepage at wyckoff-nj.com as a news item on Friday, July 17, 2020 at 4:30 p.m. To view the live-streamed Township Committee meeting, please access the YouTube link, which has been posted on the Wyckoff website's homepage at wyckoff-nj.com as a news item immediately prior to the commencement of the meeting at approximately 7 p.m. on July 21, 2020. To be notified of all future live-streamed Township meetings, please create a YouTube account and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Township of Wyckoff. This regular meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Wyckoff is now in session. In accordance with Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, I wish to advise that notice of this meeting has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall and on our Township Committee website page. A copy has been filed with the Township Clerk, and copies were sent to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and the North Jersey Herald and News, all newspapers with a general circulation throughout the Township of Wyckoff. May I have a roll call? Mr. Boonstra.
Here?
Ms. Fisher.
Here.
Ms. Rubenstein.
Here.
Mr. Madigan.
Here.
Mayor Shanley.
Here. Can I get a motion for public comment period, 5 minutes per speaker for public comment on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the Township of Wyckoff?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra.
Yes.
Ms. Fisher.
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein.
Yes.
Mr. Madigan.
Yes.
Mayor Shanley.
Yes. Now is the time for public comment. If anybody watching wants to call 201-891-7000, extension 222. Oh, here we go, we got. Hello?
Hello, this is Julie Schottmeyer. How are you all this evening?
Hi, Ms. Schottmeyer, you're on for public comment. Just state your address, please, for the record.
My address is 337 Crescent Avenue.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I am calling and actually requesting to speak in regards to the fundraising for Beth and Lisa with the concert that is going to be held on Saturday, August 15th, I believe at Beth's home, which is 740 Hickory Hill Road. I would just like, I understand that the flyer states that there's going to be strict social distancing. And my question is, how are the social distancing standards going to be enforced for 100 people on the size of this property lot?
Okay, Beth, do you want to answer?
I will say that we are going to be following the governor's executive order, and we will be providing spaces that people can stand in that are properly socially distanced.
Because with 100 people, it's my understanding that we need 12 feet basically per person. Is the lot size going to be able to hold that many people to proper social distance?
Well, I believe the assumption would be that people would be coming in couples, so it wouldn't have to be 100 people standing 6 feet apart. So.
Right, I know, we can't assume that though, because it is 100 tickets, it's not being sold like as a ticket per 2 people. So it's just that, you know, right now, we're just very concerned and just trying to take the responsibility to keep Wyckoff safe as we've all really tried to, you know, stop to prevent, you know, spreading of COVID throughout Wyckoff. This has been something extremely that we're being cautious about. And now this is, I guess, the first big event that is going to be held in our town. So reasonably stated that everyone, you know, there is a lot of concern about this. And I asked specifically online, I did get an answer. And I am in the entertainment division where we do put on events and we do have a clear understanding of a map that is provided. So it's just my suggestion that perhaps you and Lisa could maybe mark up something like this as for to help our community have a better understanding of the social distancing with the concerns that are out there.
Okay, yes, thank you. I appreciate your input. And we will certainly make sure that everyone is safe. And there is nothing more important to me than the safety of the residents of Wyckoff. So I will definitely.
Thank you. And then with, in regards to ticket sales, I understand the flyer was changed this week. First, the flyer, the header was Fisher Night Out for Wyckoff Township Committee campaign fundraiser. And then it was changed to a hashtag My Wyckoff event. So with the wording changing, I'm wondering where the sales of the tickets are going. Is it going to the political fundraising, or is it going to something for our town, since it's now a hashtag My Wyckoff event?
I guess I'm not clear why this is, it doesn't really seem like essential town business. It is a fundraising event for the campaign.
Okay, so that would be essential town business then, correct? If it's a campaign for our town and us citizens who are voters would like to know where the ticket money is going to, since it was changed recently.
Okay, yeah, it is a fundraising event. I'm sorry,
Okay,
I don't
so
think.
it's not about hashtag My Wyckoff, it is still a township committee campaign fundraiser, okay, that's good.
Yes.
That was cleared up, and I know,
Okay.
Someone else was asking a question, I'm not sure if you saw it before the post was taken down, but I'll ask in regards to him as well. He was asking, with this, is the community event, is it legal in Wyckoff to hold a public concert on a private residence with a public ticket sales and alcohol sold with a ticket?
Yes, everything has been researched.
Where will the cars be parked? Is there event security?
I don't really know how this is any different than having a graduation party at someone's house or having a, I don't know, engagement party where there's lots of people coming to your house to park. There is.
When there have been private parties, this is not a private party, so it is a little different because it is a public campaign funding party with ticket sales, and which we don't sell tickets for a cause when we're having a private party. But when we do, a lot of times we do have to get permits through the town, and there are restrictions on where parking is. You've noticed sometimes during on the street, they have signs that you can't park on one side of the street than the other during a big event somewhere in our town, just for safety reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So fire trucks can get through and in that regard. So that's where this question, I believe he was asking, was coming from.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Everything has been followed, and there is plenty of parking, but I will certainly follow up with the police department to confirm that all safety concerns have been addressed.
Thank you. And I do believe, this, and I would like you to know that this really is all coming from that since we are just a small town, we're just concerned about the spread of the virus with something this big. I understand there have been other political events that have been canceled due to, the COVID awareness, and that's just one thing that I would like to bring to your attention, and hopefully maybe you and your running partner can have a conversation about, because the end goal is keeping Wyckoff safe, and that's more important than any election that's upcoming.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schotmeyer. Have a good night.
I hope you have a good night. Thank you.
Let's see if there's any more.
Sorry, I'm pressing the hang up button. It's not hanging up.
Okay, public comment is still open. If there's any other public comments, call 201-891-7000, extension 222. Oh, another call. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hi, you're on for public comment. Please state your name and address for the record.
Oh, hi, it's Robert Fortunato, 456 Victor Way.
Okay, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, so you have a resolution on this evening for Beverly McKay, I believe, correct?
We do. It's a proclamation for her. Yep.
So I just wanted to say, as a resident of Wyckoff and as a member of the Ramapo Indian Hills Board of Ed, I wanted to take the opportunity to acknowledge Beverly McKay's achievements tonight and her service to the community, and to wish her the best in her retirement. I've come to know her in the last 7 or 8 months while working on the school board, and I've seen her tireless work on behalf of the students, and especially recently in the face of the COVID-19 crisis. She's been a great asset to the community, and she's done a fantastic job, and her shoes will be hard to fill. So she's very deserving of your commendation, and I want to thank the Township Committee for recognizing her. That's all I have to say, so thanks very much.
Thank you so much and have a good night.
Good night, take care.
Okay, public comment is still open. If you have a comment, 201-891-7000, extension 222. Oh, another one. Hello? Hello?
Hello,
Hi, you're on for public comment. Please state your name and address for the record.
John Carolyn, 563 Miller Road. And I'm calling this evening to thank the,
John, you still there?
I am still there.
Okay. We thought we lost you.
He's watching on YouTube, which is delayed.
John Carolyn, 563 Miller Road.
You have to turn off the YouTube.
Yeah, turn the YouTube down, John,
Or
because it's
mute
a little
that.
delayed, or mute it.
Got it, how's that?
There you go.
All right, well, listen, I wanted to, Rob also called in, and I also wanted to first thank the Township Committee for their efforts in putting together a proclamation celebrating the retirement of Beverly McKay as superintendent of our high school. Had the opportunity to work with Beverly over the last couple of months as a Ramapo Indian Hills board member. and she has been a phenomenal leader for our schools. We are very appreciative of all that she's done for our students, our parents, and our community. We're very fortunate to have somebody like her leading our schools, and she will be greatly missed. Her amazing ability to provide leadership and coaching to so many of our teachers and staff, her ability to reach out and touch students has been outstanding, and of course, just the way she's managed the schools with the recent example of how she's managed through the COVID crisis has been an example for the rest of the state of New Jersey on how to continue school in the face of this crisis. So we wish her all the best, and I wanted to again thank the Township Committee for their efforts in this and putting this proclamation together.
Thank you. And
That's all I
John,
have.
John, thank you, because most of what's in our proclamation was a lot from you. So thank you for helping us draft this proclamation.
It was my pleasure and my honor.
Thanks.
Have a good evening.
Good night. Okay, we're still open for public comment. If you would like to make public comment, call 201-891-7000, extension 222. Okay, I think we're done. Can I get a motion to close the public comment period?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes?
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes. Okay, I'm now going to call Beverly McKay, our superintendent of Rampo Indian Hills. Call Beverly McKay.
Calling Beverly McKay.
You just have to hang up on that person. You just put that hanging up.
Hi, Beverly?
Yes.
Hi, we're through public comment, so we're going to present you with a proclamation. So just listen up. We're going to have Tom read the proclamation as the liaison to the Ramapo Indian Hills Board. So Tom, go ahead and read.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I've had the pleasure of knowing Bev McKay for her entire career in education since 1994. I go back to where many of my children had Bev as an educator at Eisenhower School. And while I was on the Ramapo Indian Hills Board of Education, I also had the distinction of hiring Bev in 2003 as vice principal of Indian Hills High School. And you won't believe it, but in 2003, Bev had a special notoriety. She was the first female administrator in the history of the high school district. So I was pleasure to champion her, and she's done us right over the many years. I also had the honor to hire her another time, which was in 2014, when she became superintendent of schools. So tonight, Wyckoff and the Township Committee say thank you, Bev, and it's my pleasure to read this proclamation. Whereas Beverly McKay has steadfastly served the residents and students of the Township of Wyckoff for 26 years in the Wyckoff Public Schools and Ramapo Indian Hills School District, and whereas Beverly McKay has served our community with distinction, working with our youngest residents, achieving increasing levels of responsibility as a middle school teacher, athletic director, team leader, assistant principal, district director of student personnel, interim superintendent, director of curriculum, and finally leading our Ramapo Indian Hills School District as superintendent. And whereas Beverly McKay has given back to the community she grew up in as a graduate herself of Coolidge School, Eisenhower Middle School, and Ramapo High School. She has achieved awards such as the New Jersey DOE Best Practice in Technology, New Jersey Start School Award winner, Wyckoff Education Foundation Achievement Award, New Jersey DOE Best Practice in Health, National Blue Ribbon School of Excellence, application author for that, which was a big distinction then, and also Ramapo High School Athletic Hall of Fame. And whereas the students, parents, and residents of Wyckoff have benefited greatly from Beverly's leadership skills, positive can-do attitude, and unwavering commitment to the success of every student, which she has displayed as a compassionate and diligent teacher and administrator. And whereas Beverly's unselfish devotion of her time and energy, with a keen focus on outstanding execution of district strategy, has been evident in all her professional development of countless teachers and administrators, visionary programs like the One-on-One Technology Initiative, consistent performance of the Ramapo Indian Hills School District as one of the best in the state of New Jersey, the Ramapo Indian Hills District's attainment under Beverly's leadership of bronze level certification of future-ready schools, and her development of the district's continuity of learning and operations plan, which allowed the Ramapo Indian Hills School District to continue without interruption and to complete this year on time in the face of a global pandemic. And whereas Beverly McKay has left her mark on our community, and we feel due recognition should be extended to her, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Wyckoff, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, that we commend Beverly McKay for advancing the education of all our young residents and all our students through her dedicated service as a teacher and administrator. She has provided and we further extend to her our best wishes on her retirement and her future endeavors. Witness this 21st day of July, 2020. Mayor Timothy E. Shanley, Rudolph E. Boonstra, Elizabeth J. Fisher, Thomas J. Madigan, and Melissa D. Rubenstein. And I'm going to hold this up, Bev, before we have a big round of applause. This thing, you're going to love this framed on your wall, just so everybody can see it.
Wow.
This is very impressive. We're going to give you a round of applause. And I'm going to promise, before you make your comments, I'm going to promise to hand deliver it to you. All right?
Thank you. So, thank you so much to the whole Township Committee. I'm like speechless. I'm not sure who that person is that you just spoke about. But thank you so much. It really has been it's been such a privilege to serve a community that I actually feel has given so much to my own family. As you mentioned, I was born and raised and have lived in Wyckoff for all 60 years of my life. And our family has learned and gained so much from Wyckoff. And, we're blessed to have two of our daughters have moved back into town, and they have children who they'll be raising now in Wyckoff. So I, of course, couldn't be more proud. And, Bob and I are just, so thrilled to, have lived and both served in this community. Probably one of the most common questions I get is how can you possibly live and work in the same community? You run into people and stop and shop right. But, that's the joy. I feel like if there's just a small difference I can make in people's lives in my own community, then it's all worthwhile. So, just kind of as a coincidence, I guess, exactly 7 years ago today, on the 21st of July, 7 years ago, a proclamation was actually read for my husband. We just read that for his retirement on the exact same day.
Wow.
So, yeah, kind of crazy. And
Yes.
Mr. Boonstra read that proclamation. So, but, I just can't thank you enough. And it's really been my honor to serve our community. And we plan on staying here and continuing to serve in any small way that Bob and I can, because we just absolutely love our community and would continue to give back anything. So to all of you, thank you. It's been an honor and privilege and just very humbling to have this proclamation read tonight. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else want to make any comments?
Yeah, I would like to. Bev, it's Rudy Boonstra. You know, it's an honor. I always found it an honor to serve in a public way my hometown. I'm sure you feel the same way. I get the sense just in what you've said you've had, or that you have had that same honor. And you know, it's easy to do a good job when you do it for the town you love. And I gotta tell you, we love you for doing such a great job for all these years. And congratulations on a well-deserved retirement, and don't be a stranger around town. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rudy.
I'm just gonna say something quick as well. That's Melissa, and I want to thank you for all of your years of service to Wyckoff. I mean, it just sums up what Wyckoff is, what you said about serving your community and the leadership and growing up in town and coming back and serving. And I think it's such an amazing story. And my biggest sadness is that my little kids won't have you in the school system. So thank you for everything that you've done.
Oh, thank you, Melissa, for your kindness.
Thank you, Dr. McKay. Really appreciate your service.
Thank you.
That was from Beth Fisher. And I would guess I will be last as mayor. We definitely are going to miss you in the Ramapo Indian Hills School District, but the good thing is we're still going to have you in Wyckoff. I definitely am going to miss, I have a 7th and a 6th grader now. They're not going to have you as the administrator, but you've left the Ramapo Indian Hills District in such a good shape that it should be easy for the next administrator to take over. And, you know, run it but virtually the same way. So I think you've set a very good example for the entire school district. And I just want to say good luck in your retirement. Enjoy it. And look forward to seeing you around town.
Yes, thank you so much, Mayor Stanley. I appreciate that.
Tim, can I say something?
Rob Landell wants to say something, our attorney. Here we go.
Am I talking?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead and talk. I'm just holding it so she can hear
Yeah,
through the speaker.
Look, I just want to say that I'm extremely proud, Bev, to call you a friend, and I am, in my family's firsthand knowledge, that you have a tremendous, not a small impact, but a tremendous impact on people's lives. All 3 of my children were lucky enough to attend Ramapo at some point while Bev was there, and you know, when my family went through a significant crisis, Ramapo High School really embraced us and showed a tremendous amount of love and empathy, and that starts from the top. And Bev, you mean a lot to me, and I have a lot of love for you, and so does my family, and thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks for so much. I love your family.
Yeah, Rob, that's a good point, because when we were naming the field, you know, after your son, Bev got the message out to the entire Ramapo Indian Hills School District to have people there, despite the fact that there may have been a prom and everything. I remember there was something that there was a conflict, but we still had quite a showing for Ben. So thank you, Bev, for that as well.
You're very welcome. It's my honor.
Bob Shannon wants to say something.
Mr. Mayor, if I can make a
Sure.
comment to Bev. Bev, you will be deeply missed, and you brought that Wyckoff feeling to the board, to the administration. You know Wyckoff, and you have always done the right thing for Wyckoff. On a personal note, I often think my son wouldn't get into college if you didn't give him the idea for his college essay, so thank you.
Oh, gosh. Happy to help.
Yeah, and I mentioned my 6th and my 7th grader, that, you know, because they're getting close to high school, but I also have a 1st grader that is going to miss, you know, you as the administrator when he eventually gets there, but that seems so far off, but it'll go like, you know, you wouldn't believe, because I can't believe I have a 7th grader already.
Yeah, goes fast.
It does. All right,
God.
very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, for all your kindness, for all of you, and we're not going anywhere. I'll be sitting on my front porch watching the cars on Wyckoff Ave.
Nice.
Great.
Very good. All right, Bev, we're going to get back to our meeting, so enjoy.
Many thanks.
Thank
All
you.
right, take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right, that was nice. Very well done reading it, Tom. I do need a motion for the approval of the June 16th, 2020 Township Committee work session and regular business meetings, and the July 2nd, 2020 special meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Stanley?
Yes. Okay, can I get a reading of the consent agenda, please?
All matters listed below are considered by the Township Committee to be routine in nature. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If any discussion is desired by the Township Committee, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Adoption of the following resolutions. Number 20-232, cancellation of taxes, 240 Demarest Avenue. Number 20-233, approval of vouchers and authorization to pay bills. Number 20-234, increase the bid threshold pursuant to NJSA 40A:11-3 and NJAC 5:34-5.4. Number 20-235, return of certain overpaid taxes. Number 20-236, authorized purchase of playground system under state contract. Number 20-237, establish lien, 550 Clinton Avenue, failure to maintain property. Number 20-238, temporary outdoor business operations procedures. Number 20-239, award of contract, pay-to-play compliance, Hudson County Motors. Number 20-240, award of contract, pay-to-pay compliance, Site 1 Landscape Supply. Number 20-241, 2019 audit, general comments and recommendations. Number 20-242, release of closed session minutes. And number 20-C8, authorized closed session. Mr. Chairman, I have ordinance number 1918 for introduction. Ordinance number 1918, an ordinance to amend Chapter 177, Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Township of Wyckoff to add new sections, number 177-57, location of illuminated traffic control signs, and 177-58, location of pole-mounted illuminated traffic messaging signs to govern the location of illuminated traffic control signage. We also have motions of the proclamation which just occurred honoring Beverly McKay on the occasion of her retirement after 26 years of service to the community, and Cornerstone Christian Church seeking approval to erect a tent for outdoor worship. May I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
Move the consent agenda.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes.
We need to sign the special resolution for the, for the audit comments. If we could just pass this around. Sure. Mr. Chairman, I have ordinance 1916 for public hearing and further consideration. An ordinance to amend Chapter 177, Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Township of Wyckoff to add a new section, 177-56, Traffic Control Signs, to govern the illumination of traffic control signage. For second reading by title only, and a copy of this ordinance has been posted on the bulletin board in Town Hall, where public notices are customarily posted, and copies have been made available to members of the general public of the township who have requested the same.
I move the ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
I'm going to take a roll call vote. Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
This is the time, yes, this is the time and place for the public hearing on ordinance 1916, and all persons who wish to be heard, please state your name and address before making your statement. To do that, call 201-891-7000, extension 222.
I move the public hearing on ordinance 1916 be closed.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes.
Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Wyckoff that ordinance number 1916, after public hearing and further consideration, is hereby adopted, and the municipal clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish the notice of final passage of said ordinance in the official newspaper for the township as provided by law.
I move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I also have ordinance number 1917 for public hearing and further consideration. An ordinance to amend Chapter 186, zoning of the Code of the Township of Wyckoff, to amend Section 186-26, off-street parking, to amend the parking requirements for personal care uses. For second reading by title only, and a copy of this ordinance has been posted on the bulletin board in Town Hall, where public notices are customarily posted, and copies have been made available to members of the general public of the township who have requested the same.
I move the ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes. This is the time and place for the public hearing on ordinance 1917. And all persons who wish to be heard, please state your name and address before making your statement. To make your statement, call 201-891-7000, extension 222.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to place on the record that in accordance with the municipal land use law, the Township Committee has received a written recommendation from the Planning Board recommending the adoption of this ordinance.
I'm going to make a comment
I have
under...
a comment too.
I'm going to make a comment under discussion of the ordinance. I am going to support the ordinance. A particular local realtor, who's also a property owner, lobbied heavy for this ordinance. He's been lobbying heavy, and I'm not going to use his name, lobbying heavy for some time now, and the ordinance is coming to fruition tonight, and I believe it's a good ordinance. It was recommended by our planner, who looked at it and recommended the numbers to us. That same realtor recently, I saw a post, I think it was on Facebook, who suggested that, or inquired about whether outdoor dining should be extended into the future. Now, we just approved Resolution 20.238, which actually deals with relaxing certain zoning ordinances to allow for the outdoor dining that is currently in operation. And I just question the wisdom of that comment, especially in light of the ordinance we're adopting tonight, which actually would be made ineffective or useless if we would extend outdoor dining just in an ad hoc way into the future. I just had to make that comment.
Okay, Tom, did you
Thank
say
you,
you
Mayor.
had a comment?
Yeah, when Rudy's done.
He is.
I just want to comment too that over the past several months, it's been brought up to me, it actually started when I was mayor, in different circumstances, that perhaps we need to do something about this zoning, because obviously it doesn't properly apply to the people that were lobbying for it. I just want to be on the record as saying, I said at the time, that, you know, it would be looked into, it would be something that would come up in July due to the reaffirmation of a master plan. So I think it's a positive change, but I just want to be on the record as it's being changed because it makes sense, and it was brought before our planner as part of the reaffirmation of the master plan as not promised, but as previously stated by me.
Thank you, Tom. And yes, when you were mayor, I happened to bring this up because before the zoning board came the barber who is now in the Wyckoff Shopping Center, who, it triggered that he had to go before, for some reason, the zoning board instead of the planning board, because it was a different parking that applied to the barber shop than it did to any other business in that shopping center. And it was also brought to my attention that they had issues where hairdressers and barbers could not really locate themselves in town because of the parking ordinance. And that was brought to my attention by a realtor, and that realtor happens to be my wife. And Bob, Rob, you did a great job with the ordinance. I know I had brought it to your attention. You started working on it, and we waited until we did the re-examination of the master plan, and it's perfect timing. So well done. Thank you.
I just wanted to add one more thing, that in this time of COVID, when we still have huge restrictions against our businesses, for public safety, it's great to see Wyckoff doing things to help our local business and keep our economy going and helping people get through this time.
Thank you. I do think we do need a motion now to close public comment.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes.
Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Wyckoff that ordinance number 1917, after public hearing and further consideration, is hereby adopted, and the municipal clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish the notice of final passage of said ordinance in the official newspaper for the township as provided by law.
Can somebody move the
I move the
resolution?
resolution.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn the business meeting and go back into the work session?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes. Beth, we wound up ending on your report. Do you have anything further to report?
No, it was just I wanted to make it clear that I was offering to be on this Boy and Girl Scout Award Subcommittee if anyone else is interested. I have had, someone reached out to me directly wanting to do something, and she put together this whole PowerPoint, and I felt like she did a lot of work, and I just wanted to be able to continue with that, but and it seems like we have had a lot of requests. I don't know if that's normal, but since I've joined, we seem to have them on a regular basis, so that was just something I thought might be a good idea to put in place so that these scouts, with all the work that they're putting in, have a really positive experience with
Right.
almost like a, mentorship and guiding them through it, so.
I would certainly serve on that committee if it gets established. I don't have a problem serving on it, and my report is going to show that a lot of my committees are really not happening this year, so I don't mind if it gets set up being the one that serves with you.
Okay, great.
I only have one comment. Having been involved through Rotary and in the township, predominantly with Boy Scouts, because other people had kind of gravitated to Girl Scouts, I just would want to make sure and make it perfectly clear that we're not telling our Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts for their silver awards to go through the township committee to get things approved. So I'm just telling you, I'm a little cautious, although it could be a good idea in certain projects. I would hate it all of a sudden, you gotta go through the township committee
Well, it would
to
impact
do
if
anything on Boy
the
Scouts or
project is
Girl
on
Scouts.
township property.
Right, yeah, I'm sorry if that wasn't clear. It would really be only if they were coming to the township saying, is there anything that needs to be done? Like Rob mentioned, the trellis.
Sort of like when Jeremy Swenson worked over at the Zabriskie House.
Again, I just stand by my comments.
Okay, that's fine. Anything else, Beth?
That was it, yeah, thank you.
All right, it's on to me. So I will start with, want to thank Steve Clark for doing that interview with Ridgewood Water, and as part of the Utilities Committee, I figured I would mention it because there were some key things that came out of that interview, and I would definitely ask the residents to please watch it because it's very educational. One of the things that keeps coming up is why is the water so cloudy? And it gets answered by Mr. Calvary toward the end of the interview. And it was, the answer, and Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, was that is because air is getting somewhere in the pipes and causing bubbles in there that's causing it to be cloudy. And that's why the cloudiness disappears after you let that glass of water that's cloudy sit for a couple minutes. Is that correct, Bob? Did I hear that correct? Yeah, and the other factual information that came out of that, there is 275 miles of pipe, and 90% of our water is from the groundwater. And Mr. Calvary also said that they've just drilled 2 new wells, and unfortunately, they're both contaminated. So they've got to now decontaminate those wells before they could be used. And one of the things he did mention is they're purchasing $3 million a day of water from the Passaic Valley Water Commission, and some water, I believe, from Hawthorne. And there's about 5,000 connections in Wyckoff. So Wyckoff certainly is served predominantly by Ridgewood Water. So it's interesting. I would recommend watching Dr. Steve Clark's video. He spends quite a bit of time interviewing him and asking him some key questions. The other issue for the Utilities Committee was the Brookside project. I think we've touched on that, so I don't need to go any further. Rudy's covered the planning board meeting, which we held, this month, so that's finished. I want to touch base on today the Bergen Newbridge mobile testing site that occurred at Waldwick, which involved Wyckoff, Waldwick, and Saddle River. And I did see Tom Madigan at it with his wife, Mary. So he saw me there today bringing my 3 boys and my wife, Melissa. We all got tested with the saliva test, except for my son, Matthew. And I have to speak highly of Matthew because he could not, because you're not supposed to drink or eat beforehand, he couldn't generate the saliva he needed. So an 11-year-old did the nose swab. So he had no problem, an 11-year-old, having that swab stuck far up his nose. He said it was very uncomfortable, but he got through it. I guess that's why he's a nose guard for football. So he can handle in the trenches. So I'm very proud of my son Matthew for sitting through that. And I also saw quite a few residents from Wyckoff who went down there, and I thank them for doing that because it's good to get tested just in case you're asymptomatic and spreading it around. And it's also good because we want a low positivity rate on our tests. The state's been between 1% and 3% for quite some time now, which is one of the lowest positivity rates in the country. There's quite a few number of states, I think we're up to 31 that are mandatory quarantine if you've been to them and you're coming back to New Jersey. It just seems to be growing at a rapid pace throughout the country. So hopefully we will contain it and continue to contain it in New Jersey. The other thing I need to report on, and Melissa and I are on the fireworks committee, and we have serious concerns about going forward with the fireworks, even though we can have a 500-person outdoor event. It's going to be hard to contain what's going to happen with the fireworks and making sure that people are adequately distanced on that field. So our recommendation is to not go forward with the fireworks this year due to the COVID pandemic. Am I correct, Melissa?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to add to that.
Go ahead.
I think this town is doing an incredible job with keeping everybody safe, keeping our numbers down, wearing masks, socially distancing. And with the opening of school soon, I think
Right.
we're all, every parent that I talk to, that's their number one concern is, getting us back to school in a safe way. And I think, the fireworks kind of coincide with the opening of school. And I just think that we need to do everything possible to avoid any kind of outbreak, any kind of spread of this virus. Keep our kids safe. Now that our kids are likely going to be back in the classroom part-time, we just want to keep everybody safe. And as much as we love the fireworks, we feel like this year we just have to put safety first and hope that by next year we have a vaccine or some other way of controlling this virus and we can get back to the things that we love as a community.
Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, that's definitely the reasons why, we don't feel that we should do it, because we're going to have people likely coming from other towns, and we don't want somebody coming from another town that might bring the virus, and we don't want people standing in line at a food truck for food, and it's just going to be somewhat very difficult to make sure that we don't have an outbreak as a result of a large gathering for the fireworks. And we don't even know if we could contain it to under 500, which would then be a violation of the executive order, which we certainly do not want. Because it could be, everyone says, let's fireworks. Fireworks were canceled at just about every other town. Ridgewood canceled their 4th of July fireworks, and there's a couple other towns in Bergen County that canceled them for 4th of July. So it doesn't make sense when we're going back to school and we want to keep our numbers down. And we've done a very good job since April. April was our peak. If you remember, most of you will remember back how bad it was in April when everything was shut down. And we do not want to go backwards, and we want to continue going forward. And hopefully not spread this virus. So that is why I had offered to go sit on that committee, because the fireworks committee is not going to do anything now until next year. And
Right.
hopefully we have a cure and this virus is gone and we can bring these fireworks back and we could all get together and socially gather without masks and not worrying about, getting each other sick. So that's pretty much my report, except for I did check on the census.com website to see where we are. I'm happy to report that we're at 79.9% of our self-reporting number. Now, that's higher than the state average, and it's higher than most Bergen County towns. I did see that Glen Rock was at about 87.7 or something. So we're in line where we need to do, but if anybody's listening who has not filled out the census yet, please do so and include all your children, because the census is important, because the federal aid is based upon how many residents we have. In the state, in our town, it's important that the census numbers are accurate so that we can get all the benefits we can from our federal government. So if you have not filled out the census, please do so. One of the lowest unaccounted for age brackets are from 1 to 5. So even include your newborn. If you have a newborn or even somebody who's 1 to 5, add 10 years to them. That 5-year-old is going to be 15 by the time the next census is out, and he or she is going to be in high school. And state aid, educational aid is going to be affected, where he or she is not going to be counted. So please take care of entering your information into the census. And the census is all private. It's not utilized by anything other than to count the numbers, because the Constitution requires every 10 years the federal government count how many residents are in each state, because that's how they apportion federal aid. That's how they apportion how many people sit in the Congress as well, in the House of Representatives. Okay, and that's it. I've
Can I
got
make one comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to make two comments, if I may. One, Mary and I filled the census out several months ago, and it must be on the frequent flyer list, because we get more emails, we can still get mailings, they're still asking us to send it in, and it just seems like we're wasting a lot of money. Second thing is, you talk about finances and money from the government. I just want to comment that, we worked diligently this year on our budget from a finance standpoint, Melissa and myself, and we're all in concurrence. And we did a lot of work because of the situation, the economic situation of our residents, the state. And I just want to go on the record that I'm very disappointed that Governor Murphy and our legislature and Senate, which is all Democrats, not one Republican vote, would introduce and enact a $9.9 billion increase that the state is now going to send property tax owners across the state a new state property tax. So we have enough expenses in New Jersey. I just want to say we're working hard here in town, but we can't fight this governor and we can't fight the state legislature. And I think our residents should speak up. Thank you.
Good point.
All right, does anyone else have any comments before I get a motion to go into closed session?
Can I just make my report for?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You know what? I forgot about you, Rob. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Chatting before with other mayors, so.
No, it's happening I think I did it the last meeting,
Especially the
too.
last meeting.
Yeah, it's always a problem when our work session goes into a recess and then we're coming back.
I'll make it quick,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I attended the planning board meeting for the adoption of the re-exam, thought it went well. I met with the resident, Mr. Oliver, on the Morley Drive sewer extension, and that seems to be going well. I'm in the process of drafting the deed restrictions now, both neighbors are on board and excited for the project. Especially Mr. Oliver was very appreciative of the Township Committee's offer and efforts. I drafted and waiting for execution for the deed restriction for the 24 affordable units at Christian Healthcare, the extensions for the Evergreen Court. And I'm also waiting on some modifications to the subdivision over at the Gardens, that that little slight land swap that we had, of the redrawing the line. Mike Varner from the Bergen County Planning Board had a couple changes, and he also wants to see the road widening as we thought he would. So we're going to have that put on the plan. That road widening was approved by the Planning Board, and I think the Township Committee previously as well. And the last thing I'll say is I attended with Beth and Bob the I'll call it the risk management Zoom meeting. And, Bob does a lot of worthwhile things here. I mean, Bob's constantly doing things, but I thought that was a great event. And it's the first time I participated in it. And Dave Grubb from JIF was incredibly informative. And I thought he was fantastic, and I benefited from it. And that's something that we can do every year or twice a year. I think it's fantastic, and I really see the benefit of the Zoom meetings, because to be able to get Bob and I, Dave Grubb, and our insurance, Bob Steinbrook, and Beth there all as quickly as we did, in 1 hour it was over. I really see the benefit of having the virtual meetings, because it's not easy to get everyone together for a meeting like that. And it was really, I thought, really productive. Well done, Bob. Thanks for that. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Rob just reminded me of something. There is progress in a number of neighborhoods on sewers, but Tom and I will report probably at the next meeting.
Okay.
So we're not quite there yet. So thanks, Rob, for bringing that up and reminding me. That's all.
All right.
Thank you.
So
I'll make a
Bob-
motion to go into executive session.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes?
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Abstain.
I'm sorry, abstain
Abstain.
from going into closed session?
Abstain.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes. Okay, we are now going into closed session, so the video is going to go off. Have a good night, everyone.